First, we have to set up the course. The map is entirely modular and customizable for distance in 4 different terrain types: flats, climbs, descents, and sprints. There's also a numbered start line and finish line. Set out the sprint and bonus climbs. The first rider to cross these lines will be awarded -2 seconds at the end of the game. The lower your time, the better your place. Green lightning bolts represent sprint points, and red dots represent Monarch of the Mountain points. The game can accommodate between 3 and 5 players. Each deck is strategically the same, and players can select their team based on color preference. Player mats display the rider's name, countries of origin, and rider class. There is also an area to keep track of fatigue, bonus abilities, and terrain modifications as well. Each rider is printed with a symbol that matches their player mat. The size of your team is dependent on the number of players in the game. In this example, we'll use a 5-player setup, which means each team will be playing with only 4 riders. Set out the event manager to keep track of random events, the order of operations in the reorganization phase, and your available riders. For the available riders token, you will start with the black on white side, which matches the jersey of the face-up riders. When a rider is activated, you flip them over to the opposite side. This means the rider cannot be activated again until the available riders token is flipped to the opposite side. Now we'll set the riders on the road, starting with the randomly determined first player. In this case, it's red. They can select any of their riders to be in the first position. Following clockwise, blue then selects any rider to be placed in the second position. This happens until every player has placed 1 rider. Then placement starts with the last player and moves counterclockwise until the first, then first to last again, and so on until everyone is evenly spaced on the road. All players randomly draw 5 action cards and gameplay begins. The first player can select an action card from their hand featuring 4 different types of movement: lead, chase, draft, and break. There's also a wild card that lets you choose your movement type. Red is the first player. They're going to activate their sprinter with a draft movement. Draft movement will move the sprinter's entire linked line, front and back, forward 5 spaces. So we're going to start with the front of the line and work our way back. Once a rider has been activated, you flip them to the opposite side. This sprinter cannot be used again until all other riders have had a chance. Already you can see that positioning in this game will not be entirely under your control. There is no fatigue listed on the bottom of this card, so the rider gets away clean. On to the blue player. They are playing a chase movement on their all-star. Chase movements will follow the riders ahead of you, but they will drop riders behind you. The cards also have 2 icons turned on: class modifiers on top and fatigue modifiers on the bottom. According to their player mat, the all-star gets +1 pedal stroke in the mountains. It's the beginning of the game, so there's no fatigue to worry about. This rider follows their linked line forward for a total of 7 spaces. Make sure you flip the activated rider, and make sure you pay attention to the special abilities on every card. This gives the rider +1 pedal stroke, or movement point. This card has light fatigue on the bottom, so add 1 to this rider on the player mat. On to the yellow player. This climber is playing a lead movement, which pulls all riders behind them for 7 pedal strokes. This rider must also apply their class modifiers and fatigue modifiers. Again, no fatigue yet, but the climbers get +1 in the mountains. The special text also allows them to move diagonally once, normally not allowed, and the zigzag icon means all riders follow sideways moves. Yellow moves sideways, then forward, then diagonal, and forward using 6 of their pedal strokes so far. The blue rider follows behind the yellow, but once the blue rider gets in front of the red rider, the player with the activated rider can choose to pick up this newly linked line. On lead movement, everyone follows. This movement card has heavy fatigue and must be added to the rider on the player's mat. I should note that immediately after every player's turn, they must fill their hand back up to 5. This is because there's a possibility of a randomly appearing event. Each action deck contains one of these cards, which fires off an event and causes problems for the peloton, like poor planning, attacks, or crashes. In this case, it's a crash. The crash resolves on the 6th rider back, the yellow sprinter, who takes out the blue all-star and the black climber, who are all moved to the side of the road with +1 light fatigue. Then all other riders are moved forward up to 5 spaces. Each event is different, and some are worse than others. There can never be more than 2 events per movement phase. If this happens, the Tomorrow's Headlines cards get shuffled back into the deck for a later phase. Now it's the black player's turn. They're playing a break card, which only moves 1 rider at a time. They want to move their climber off the side of the road as soon as possible, or risk getting left behind. But they're at -1 in the sprints, and they don't have any bonus when they enter the flats. Plus they have 1 fatigue marker from the crash, another penalty of 1. This means that they only move forward 6 spaces. This card has light or heavy fatigue, but since they didn't fulfill the requirements for the light fatigue, they must take heavy. Finally, it's the green player's turn. They are playing a wild card as a draft, so they can move their whole linked line. They are using their climber, who moves with 6 pedal strokes. The special text doesn't apply, and their class bonus is turned off. In order to get into the linked line to help their teammate, they need to bump their way in. You can bump other riders sideways for 2 pedal strokes. If there's no space to move sideways, they get moved back. So now the climber has spent 2 of their pedal strokes. Once in line, they get to finish the rest of their movement. Then apply the fatigue. Now we're back to the red player, but since they already activated their sprinter, they can't do it again until all other riders have been activated. Only riders with jerseys that match the available riders token can be moved. That leaves 3 riders left. Play continues until all players have activated all riders. Remember to take the base pedal stroke, add special text, add class bonuses, and subtract fatigue with each movement, and resolve events as they come. I'll play through the rest of this movement phase and meet you back for the reorganization phase. Once every rider has been activated, you move into the reorganization phase. At this point, you can rescue dropped riders if you have any. Blue has a dropped rider. They can move another rider to the back of the last linked line, then move their dropped rider behind them, but they must add 1 heavy fatigue to that rider. It's a risky move, but well timed, it can regroup your team and save you some precious seconds in the end. Then you reset the events, which allow for 2 new events to appear in the next movement phase. Flip the available riders token to the opposite side, and start with the leading rider. I'll continue to play through the rest of the game until we get a rider to cross the finish line. Then I can explain how the game ends. Okay, now it's Red's turn and they have a rider in a winning position. They're going to play a break card, and this gives them just enough pedal strokes to cross the line. They have just earned the rainbow stripes and won the race. But have they won the game? We now enter the endgame phase. Clear the event manager and flip it over to reveal the podium mat. Events cannot happen after this point. Place the winning rider in the jersey spot. Now all riders who have not been activated have 1 last chance to make a move. Blue's turn is next and they don't have a hand strong enough to make it across the line, but they still need to move their riders into as high a position as possible. Those added seconds count. They play a lead card to move a linked line with 3 of their riders forward into the priority line, the highest place in a row. Once all riders have been activated, the game ends, regardless of whether or not they cross the finish line. Take the penalty line and drop it on the player mat after the last person to cross the line. Every rider after this mark gets +1 second to their time. Then move all riders to the podium mat based on their positions on the road. Make sure you note the bonus seconds picked up along the way, then math up the results. The team with the lowest aggregate time is the winner of the game. In this case, Red won the race, but Yellow won the game with 23 seconds. Red came in second with 26 seconds, then Blue with 29, Black with 34, and Green comes in last with 41 seconds. And that's your introduction to the rules of On the Rivet, the race for the champion's stripes. For more information, please visit littletinyfish.com/on-the-rivet.